going to discuss another study in which we did calorie restriction and exercise. For this study, we focus on women. We recruited women between 20 to 45 years because we wanted them to be premenopausal. So we wanted to assure that they were all premenopausal. The intervention has three components: the diet, which is caloric restricted, increases in physical activity, which was to increase the number of steps per day, and finally, the use of a supplement. So this study is also a double blind. Neither the researchers nor the subjects knew what they were consuming. The experimental design, we recruited 70 women. We divided into two groups, 35 per group. The intervention lasted 10 weeks. All food was provided to the participants. So this was a very, very intense study in which my whole lab was involved, and I even had to recruit some undergraduate students to help us pack the food, because just imagine trying to pack food weekly for 70 people, it's a very big chore. They would come once a week to pick up the food. The caloric distribution of the food was 40% carbohydrate, 30% protein, and 30% fat. So as I said, there's three components to this study: diet, exercise, and supplement. We divided into 5 groups. And the reason I put the colors there is because the 1400 kilocalorie group was blue, 1500 was red, 1600 was pink, 1700 was green, and 1800 was purple. So when the subjects came to pick up their food, we had to pack according to the calories, and we never told them which group they were in. Because if you are told that you are eating only 1500 kilocalories per day, you might feel hungry just by that idea. How do we calculate the number of kilocalories on the different women? So we calculated caloric consumption based on the Harris-Benedict equation. The Harris-Benedict equation includes all the basal metabolic rate. It includes, that is based on the weight of the subject, the height, and the age. So those are the 3 characteristics that I use to calculate how much they are going to spend as basal metabolic rate. And then we have to add a factor of activity, because all our subjects were not active. They were sedentary, as they told us. So we calculated a small factor for activity. As you can imagine, some of the subjects would be 1423 or 1678. So we just rounded up to the group that was closer, so that we would have 5 groups. And of course, normally the women that were in the purple group, they were the tallest ones, because they are the ones that would be, or the heaviest ones, because they are the ones that are going to be having a higher basal metabolic rate. So, and then we wanted them to increase the number of steps per day. So in order to ensure compliance in this thing, we gave them a pedometer. We tested the pedometer in front of them, and we made sure we adjusted for everybody's the way they walk. And we came with a number 4,500 additional steps per day, because it takes about 45 minutes to have that additional number of steps. Well, so we wanted them to make sure that they would walk every day additional 45 minutes. And then the third part of the intervention is the supplement. In this case, it was carnitine, because we were expecting that the women that consume carnitine will have a better decrease, especially in body fat. So we have A and B. We never knew what the subjects were taking until the end of the intervention. So our hypothesis was that the carnitine supplement will be more effective in reducing body fat. This is since we have no differences between subjects. So the carnitine did not have an effect. And again, I think it's because all the subjects were compliant and they lost similar amount of weight. So I am putting them all together, and the baseline is indicated in green and the week 10 in the hash bars. You can see that there was a significant decrease in weight and there was a significant decrease in BMI. We also measure total and visceral fat, which was probably the most important parameter in this study. You can see how in the middle of the intervention and at the end of the intervention, there was a very significant decrease in total fat and visceral fat. We measured this by DEXA, which is an equipment that not only gives you bone density, but it also can tell you the distribution of fat in different areas of the body in the total fat. When we measured the lipids, there was a significant decrease also in total and LDL cholesterol, as you can see here. And HDL cholesterol and only increased until week 10. So in the middle, we didn't have any change in HDL cholesterol, but it increased in week 10. And then also there was a significant decrease in triglycerides compared to the baseline. Other important results that we have in this study were decreases in LDL oxidation, increases in LDL size, reductions in plasma insulin, and reductions in leptin, which is important because some of these subjects were leptin resistant, and so we wanted to see decreases in leptin. The more significant results of this intervention were that at the beginning of the study, there were 19 women who had insulin resistance, and at the end of the study, we only had 9. Another important result is that at the beginning of the study, there were 7 women who had metabolic syndrome, and at the end of the study, we only had 1. So in summary, women were about 95% compliant with the intervention, which is easy because we provided all the food. Although I have to tell you that sometimes women confess that they felt hungry and they eat additional things. But for the most part, they were very compliant with the intervention. So we provided all the food during the intervention, which resulted in the increases in compliance. And then, of course, the pedometers were very important because that's the only way you can check the pedometers and see if it is true that they increase the number of steps as we prescribe, because in the pedometer, it has some memory and you can go back 7 days and see if they follow that. The time into the intervention, although it was only 10 weeks, was enough to observe good results. The women improved the plasma lipids and the plasma insulin. There was no specific effect observed with the carnitine because the weight loss was very similar in both groups. In conclusion, the observed benefits on dyslipidemias and body weight in this group of women made this a successful intervention. However, women did complain of feelings of hunger due to the caloric restriction. We had at least a couple of women who wanted to drop out at the beginning of the study, and we had to talk them to stay. It is hard when you are eating 80% of your caloric intake.